What's up? This is the Professor. We're here on Eating While Broke, and today I'm gonna break down my meal that got me through a time when I was broke. All right, so when I went broke, late 2008, early 2009, somewhere in there, I didn't have a lot of money, and I never really learned how to cook either. So we had to make it work, a bare minimum, and we got the Tyson's Looney Tunes TV dinners.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, now these, earlier we were talking, there's no nutritional value or anything in these, but they got it done, you know what I mean?
I feel like the reason why you chose this was because of the whole dessert part, or
That was a big part. I mean, I like nuggets.
Was it the cheapest TV dinner on the lineup?
It was the cheapest. You know, you got the Marie Callender's, like the luxury TV dinner. You got, I don't know, Hungry. Is it Hungry Man's?
Man?
Yeah.
If you had that extra buck,
Hungry
you
Man's,
could afford
but no, they're them Tyson, the Looney Tune ones. You know what I mean? Super cheap. So.
And so I haven't had a TV dinner in ages. So what do you want to try and eat first? So we're eating the chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, corn, and this is supposed to be a brownie, even though everyone thinks.
Yeah, when I got it back in the day, that was always a big part of it. It was like actually a fudge brownie. This is kind of like a brownie slop. It's probably still pretty good. You know what I mean?
let's try it.
Start with the nuggets.
Let's start with the nuggets. Do you do ketchup? I'm gonna try and dip it.
I always was ketchup.
Was yours soggy on one side back in the day too?
Easily could have been.
Okay,
Easily.
cool. Let's do it.
That was my whole thing always. Like, I didn't like spending time in the kitchen, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always just trying to get it done.
Yeah. You didn't try to get like a girlfriend to just feed you?
In spurts.
You get a girlfriend, you'd be like, what's your cooking skills looking
In spurts. Well, this is when I got kicked to the curb, you know what I mean?
like? No.
Back to the Looney Tunes.
So you said back in 2008, 2009. When was the last time you actually ate this dish? Or even shopped for a TV dinner?
Yeah, I think 2010 is probably the last time. I had at least this TV dinner. I might have got a Marie Calendar, like if I was in a hurry or on the road or something like here and there. But yeah, for the most part, like being broke just to make it work.
Yeah.
I think late 2010. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what were you going through at that time? Because 2010, that's later.
Yeah. So I started playing professionally for the N1 Mixtape Tour, 2003. The company, the same day we were on the cover of the Sports Illustrated in 2006 is the same day that the company actually got bought out.
And that was by Sequential or something, right?
It was American Sporting Goods, but since then it's been bought out 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So the one you're saying is probably somewhere along the line. But yeah, 2006 got bought out by American Sporting Goods, and at the time, you know, I was only 21 years old. I don't even know what a company buy. I don't even know what that is. First off, you know what I mean. And then I didn't know how that would affect business moving forward. You know, so I remember asking one of my OG teammates. I was just like, so we still got a job? We still gonna play ball? And they're like, yeah. And so I was like, all right, cool. And that's all I thought of it.
Yeah.
But I think they had 2 years left on the production ESPN deal, and they fulfilled that. And then after that, the tour was over. They didn't put any money into street ball as their advertisement. But I think what those owners didn't know, and I think rest in peace, I think it passed away since, but they didn't know that the company was based on street ball. You know what I mean? That's what fueled the whole thing.
Yeah.
So they tried to go like this traditional route where it's like
The NBA?
lower tier NBA players,
yeah.
which is who they could afford at the time, right? Because they don't have the Nike money.
Yeah.
Lower tier NBA players to brigade the way, but it's just not the same. If you don't have superstars or like a niche, like how we had with the N1 Mixtape Tour, it's tough to survive in basketball, you know?
Yeah. So when you were doing the whole N1 thing, were they breaking guys off? Like, was it like salaried, or was it like, here's a sign-on bonus, manage your money well?
So I think my first deal I ever signed, I think was $60,000
Ooh.
or something
Well,
like
to
that.
a 20. So how old
Well,
were you?
I thought I was rich. You know, I was
Yeah.
18. Or no, I was actually 17 when I signed that deal.
Oh,
I
that is rich at 17.
I graduated young, yeah. So I was
Yeah.
17. And I turned 18 like a couple months later or whatever. But yeah, I thought my money wouldn't run out. Like $60K, we got to move out, get our own apartment.
But what did your parents say when you got that check?
So my parents actually fully supported everything. I actually played 1 year at junior college and kind of had to decide whether I'm going to go back to school or play professionally. But they knew that, like, they had invested everything into my hoop dream, you know, like like sneakers, trainers, clinics, camps,
Oh, they did.
AAU.
That's nice.
Oh, they supported me so heavy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the reason I am doing what I do today. So I think they looked at it like, hey, this is an opportunity to play pro. The funny thing is, I actually barely played college basketball. I got cut from 3 community colleges, and then I walked on to my local community college, like the one I didn't want to go to because I wanted to go out of town. I always had offensive skills, but I looked like I was like 12 years old. And so I think a lot of coaches didn't really trust me, like from a defensive standpoint.
But that's kind of hard to imagine you getting cut at a community level, though.
That's the crazy part. Like, I had skills. I remember one of the community college tryouts I went to, I remember I played like 5 games. And like I literally score, we were playing games of 7. I was scoring at least 4 or 5 buckets, if not like all each game. But they still wouldn't let me get a shot. But literally, if you look at somebody who's 12 years old, it's hard for you as a coach to say, "This is my guy."
But you were competing at a community level at 12. Like you're talking about
No.
community
I just
college,
looked like I was 12 years old.
Yeah, you looked, yeah.
But I was 17 trying to trying to
I
play.
watched your games. You looked very
Yeah. So just trying to get on, and I think that's what made it tough.
It's like what separates the street baller from the NBA player?
It's 2 different goals. So with street ball, obviously very competitive. You want to win every game, but people are paying to see an exhibition. It's more about that game there. So we want to like strive to entertain the most. So we like kind of like shooting for the craziest highlight, but we also want to win.
Yeah.
Whereas like the NBA, it's really about efficiency. If somebody gets a highlight, it happens by default.
Yeah. Do you think NBA is more team player friendly and street ball's more, like you said, like more flashy? Because I feel like street ball's almost like a form of art.
But street ball in its purest form is really just summertime basketball. It's really like a summer pro-am league. Guys that played overseas, some college players, the best high school players in the summers would come play, and it's just like a way to get a run. It's just basketball in the summer. There's less structure because coaches aren't really like putting their all into summertime basketball. But then when companies like And1 got involved, it really became about selling tickets and making it about the exhibition. So we amped up the highlights. You know what I mean? It became more about the entertainment. But I think it was always a looser style game with Showtime, even in its purest form before companies got involved. But I think the stakes got higher, and so it's like you strive to put on more of a show.
Yeah.
As like the And1 mixtape tour and things progressed. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you start to run out of the money?
Yeah.
Which is, now you're getting consistent money. How many years were you getting the consistent money, you'd say?
Yeah. My whole run from And1 from 2003 to 2008 probably made a few $1 million. Like it was, everybody spent it all, blew it all.
So you didn't invest any of it?
When the recession came, 2009, I'd take out my savings, and I was like living off the savings for a while, and then that ran low, and next thing you know, that was gone too.
Dang.
Yeah, but I didn't
And
save
that's
it.
when the TV dinners.
Yeah, I didn't save well. I didn't have like a 6-figure savings at the
Yeah.
time, so it was like a little bit. But yeah, then it was TV dinners, and a lot of people might not know this. For me to make ends meet during 2009, I actually kept a box of like 75 of my And1 jerseys, like game jerseys.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like I gave a good share away, but for some reason I would always keep them often.
Yeah.
And I threw them in a box, and then I actually ended up selling them on eBay anonymously. And I made ends meet like that for about 6 months, for more than 6 months. Because some of them were going from like $300 to $700. A couple of them were over $1,000. So yeah.
And you were personally doing this?
Personally selling them on eBay. Yeah.
I love to hear that. That's how you know the struggle was real too.
It was real, yeah. It was real. I think I only kept 2 And1 jerseys. Like my first one, I had a game-winning shot at Madison Square Garden. I kept that jersey, and I kept my very first one.
Did you ever offer to like sign it for more? Or did you ever spill the tea that, hey, this is the...
Yeah, so what happened was the very first one I uploaded, I didn't do it anonymously. It was like as me, I was holding it, but then I just like, I was like branding wise, it just don't look right,
Yeah.
Like I'm like in my room holding it up. I remember I told some girl to take the photo, like, here, snap it this way. You know what I mean? It's like when digital cameras first came out. The photo was like dusty though. I was like, nah, we ain't gonna do this no more. So, because I saw other people were selling the same jerseys, but they selling for like $700, and I was like, oh, you don't need a face to that. You know what I mean? Maybe I could have put a face to it and sold it for more, but I wasn't about any risk at that time. Like, let's just get these off my hands.
That's very smart, yeah.
Make our money.
You thought short-term and long-term in that. You were like, so then how did you pivot out of the whole TV dinner state? Because obviously, when was the last time you ate this meal?
Late 2010. Probably.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So you pivoted out. What was the pivot to get you out of the whole
Well, 2009 was a pivotal year for me because I actually started my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So today I'm most known for my YouTube channel. Even though social media
Your following is
influencer.
huge on social media.
Yeah, praise God, it was it looked out. But no, at the time, I started my YouTube channel. My whole YouTube channel became a business like overnight. I had a video that did 42 million views.
You said overnight, but this was when
Yeah.
YouTube had first peaked. You jumped on, right?
Well,
Or-
YouTube actually started. So a lot of people don't know YouTube started 2004.
Wow.
Yeah, YouTube started 04. I wish I would have started right when it started. But then by about 2009, I actually knew 5 people who were making 10 grand a month on YouTube. And so I remember I asked one dude, could you show me how to do it or whatever. I ended up signing with his agency. He showed me a few things. And then by about 2013, I had some viral content. Like this one video did 6 million views in a week. And then my channel went, I remember I had 17,000 views and it went from 17,000 to 650,000 subscribers in 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like a business overnight, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were like, thank you.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
what was it like getting
Yeah.
that first check? Now it was YouTube that sent you the check, right? Or
Google, yeah.
Google. Were you shocked? Did they call you and tell you, or was it just a check arrives in your mailbox and you're like, what is this?
Oh, just check arrives. I mean, their payroll, if you look at Google's payroll, is nuts. Like, I have 5.5 million subs, and I'm like the 2,800th biggest channel on
Wow.
YouTube. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, so.
But what was it like getting that check? Were you
Oh,
like,
getting the
"Ooh."
check, I was thrilled. You know what I mean? I was living in some hood apartment in Canoga Park, and still kind of trying to make ends meet.
Yeah.
We had a salary deal with Ball Up, so it was like steady. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was actually comfortable at the time, but getting that check was nice.
Yeah. And I'm sure you handled your money and looked at everything so much more differently. now.
Oh man, yeah, you learn a lot losing a few $1 million.
Yeah.
You should, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
yeah.
so I learned a lot with that, and just saved. I don't even know that I really splurged on anything. I probably bought some clothes here and
Yeah.
there, but that was about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no like real dark moment where you were like almost like I've had moments where I've like literally called on their desk and called a mentor like, oh, this company's it's done. It's going down and I'm going down with it, like tearing up.
No, it
like-
was dark. I mean, it got really dark. My best friend actually passed away 2011. He was my teammate. He was like this big dude. He actually had a heart attack. Rest in peace, my homie Escalade. So, for me, like with that whole his death, me going broke, it's definitely like a pivotal time in my life for sure.
Did you go into the feel sorry for yourself mode? And I hate to say that, but for lack of a better word. And then like what was the thing that like carried you out of the storm?
I mean, for me, it was like a faith thing. You know what I mean? I actually became Christian at his funeral.
At his funeral.
Yeah,
you
at his
became Christian.
funeral. So that was big for me.
Yeah.
And then I think there's probably some, like feeling sorry for myself, and then kind of just like wondering how I learned like how fleeting fame could be. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like I used to have hired security with A1 if I would go to like a basketball event or like something like that. And then when I would go to basketball events after A1 ended, like one person might recognize me, maybe.
Yeah.
And that taught me a lot. I was just like, what? And then I was just shocked because I always get calls for, bookings and games, and then the companies call me. I'm like overwhelmed. There's too many things to do. By 2010, I can't find hardly anything for work other than like maybe like training somebody for an hour to show them some ball handling stuff, which going from like TV show fame, you don't really want to be a trainer.
Yeah.
It's just not in your mind. So
So I have to ask, and
Yeah.
I have to go there. So, when you think of balling and street balling, you think, black people,
Oh, yeah.
I have to ask though, like,
course.
I'm sure you've heard people compare you to like the Eminem of basketball, maybe.
also my whole life.
How did that make you feel?
I just had like a sense of gratitude because I worked so hard at basketball for so long, and come 18 years old, didn't look like it was gonna pay off. But all of a sudden that preparation meets opportunity moment happened for me. To be able to play on an N1 mixtape tour, and then so whatever came after that, I didn't even care. I was just grateful to have a gig and then have like an audience.
Yeah.
So they say Eminem is street ball, or
I mean, technically,
Whatever.
Eminem is one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like, you can't say you're top 10 in hip hop without saying Eminem.
right.
You forget Eminem, you quickly go back and you say, wait, let me swap out somebody else.
Yeah.
So to be compared to someone that can handle that industry, it is a huge compliment. It's just-
I consider it a compliment and blessing. I mean, I listened to Eminem growing growing up.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
So,
I was beyond listen. Repeat.
yeah, no. I mean, for me, yeah, well, I was always trying to just like rest in gratitude for the opportunities
Yeah.
given. You know, people would call me a lot of things, but I didn't care. I was just happy to be there. You know?
Yeah. So what is the one lesson that you've learned from like when you started to like a lesson that you carry to date, or even just one pivotal lesson that you carry with you that you always tell yourself?
You always have to reprove yourself. So, like, a lot of times people will talk to me now and be like, man, you're a legend. You know what I mean? Like, man,
Yeah.
you've done it, you know? But the funny thing is, every time you're in a game or a situation, you always have to, like, reprove yourself for that to keep going.
Yeah.
So I've had a career for, like, 18 years long, but it was always a series of, like, ups and downs, like a big roller coaster, but always have to, like, reprove yourself that you belong in that slot.
Yeah.
You know, similar to like Eminem, right? He had like crappy album 2-3 albums ago.
I talk
it was
about
nothing
it
but
all the
slander
time.
and hate, but then he like bounced back with an okay, solid one,
Yeah.
and then he had like a banger, and now we're back to the legend. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
always a roller coaster. So I think always knowing that you have to reprove yourself again and again is good for like longevity.
But when you think about
Yep.
M or you or you know, like people hear the professor and they're like, oh, we know who that is, you know? So it's like to see you reinvent yourself, or what did you say it was?
Always have to reprove yourself
Reprove
again and
yourself,
again.
yeah.
I think always staying dedicated to the craft and having that preparation is the way you can bring out, like you said, that diamond.
Yeah,
You know, this
yeah.
there. It takes hard work and dedication all the way through. You can never feel like I made it and kick your feet up.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the truth.
But what do you say to the kid that, you know, aspires, loves basketball, either he's too short or he's too, you know, he doesn't have the skills quite yet. And, you know, right now it's like he's getting passed on every team. Do you know, what can you say to that kid that's like, don't quit?
What I would say is there is no such thing as too short. It's just that the smaller in height and the less strength you have, the more skilled you'll have to be. So that's a general rule.
Okay.
So there's no such. So when parents will often say, "Oh, little Mikey's trying to make it, but he's too short," I'll be like, "How tall you think I was?" There's no such thing as too short.
When I was watching the videos, it was like, how tall is he? You know, it's nice.
Right. So yeah, you can be short, but a lot of skills and stuff will have to come into that. But I would say, you know, persistence and sticking with something is huge. I think Jay-Z had a good quote. They asked him, they were like, "What's the most genius thing you ever did?" And he just said like he never gave up.
Yeah.
And I think that's big because often people who stick with something the longest end up winning because everybody's always kind of like trying to find where they fit in or what they want to do. But people try things out and then they go do something else. They try things out, they go do something else, whether it's like, you know, whether you're in videography, music, sports, or anything. Like if you can actually just stick with it and consistently hone the craft, then you might find a lot of success, but it might be way down the road.
Yeah.
So for that kid who's getting cut from his team or not succeeding right now, I would just encourage, if it's your passion and you have fun and you love doing it, I would say, definitely stick with it, you know? Because there's opportunities, even now with YouTube, the YouTube basketball community is like a building thing. So technically, if you couldn't play college, you couldn't play pro, there might actually be a slot for you. It just depends, like, if you can get an audience, you know what I mean?
So to get your ball handling skills at the level that you have yours,
Yeah.
because I would never even dream.
Sure. You ain't got no more nuggets?
I'm gonna go.
All right,
I would
so-
never even dream of trying to go up against anybody with your ball handling skills. But to get them at that level, what do you take on, like the hardest player and say, mentor me, or like, how do you get those skills? While you answer that, I'll eat a nugget.
Sure. I think elite training is actually very important. So I had a great trainer when I was in 5th grade. Shout out to Rodney Howard. He taught me some really foundational ball handling skills. Literally when I was in actually 4th grade. He first taught me like in and out crossover. He taught me like the Allen Iverson crossover. And I mastered the Allen Iverson crossover when I was in 5th grade. And I could like cross grown men. Like I was literally as tall as this table right here, but I could like cross a grown man and like crowds would go crazy. So having that elite training at a young age was big.
You think the younger, the better?
Yeah, I think no. I think if you're like super little, you should just learn to like the game because if you're gonna make it, it needs to be your passion. You need to like really enjoy just the whole culture of it. You know, playing the game, everything. So I learned to just enjoy it. I think by about middle school, you should try to get some elite training. The cool thing is, if your parents can't afford it, what's different now than when I was growing up is like everything is at your fingertips. Like all the tools for greatness in anything is really like on YouTube itself. You know, like if you want to be a great basketball player, There's no instruction that you go get that's not on YouTube. Like, but if you pay a trainer, you know, you get it one spot. It's like proven, which is cool. But I'd say for the kids who can't afford training, just log on to YouTube and just like emulate great players. There's players in the NBA now who didn't have great training when they were younger. They just honed the craft.
But they can play amongst themselves. You still have to go up against someone that's like a really good defense, right?
Oh, totally. I mean, you got to play a lot. You know, I always encourage people, get a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of two-on-twos, a lot of 5v5. Like, play whenever you can. And then, you know, if you have the opportunity to play with great players who are way better than you, then, you know, try your best to do it. Yeah, I'd say you always need a good balance. Some people will say always play with better players, but if you keep getting your butt kicked all the time, it's not always good. You need a balance. You need, like, guys who you feel like you're at the same level and you can put in work in, and then also play with elite players who kind of like bust you up because you learn a lot from that. That's what I always did, was like a good balance.
Yeah. And I've seen you do other interviews where you talk about heart and all that stuff.
To have heart in those moments, I think it's really about preparation. You know, how can you trust yourself taking a game-winning shot in the fourth quarter if you didn't put the work in? But if you feel so prepared and it's like you feel like, you know, you put in all this time, then I think you're more likely to trust yourself in those big moments. And then that'll come out. People are like, oh, he had heart. But I think a lot of it was just like preparation. He was ready for that moment.
Did you ever end up getting to meet Allen Iverson?
I actually got to play with Allen Iverson in 2012. There was like an exhibition tour in China, and he played 3 games with us. Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you cool. Like, what?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I remember seeing the flyer. They sent us a flyer just via email before the event. It was like me and my homie Bone Collector and then AI, you know, big picture AI on there. And I was just like, man, that's a trip. Because, you know, AI was my first, well, Michael Jordan was my first inspiration, but AI was right there. He was the player I felt like I could relate to the most, being a small guy. You know, I could play like he played. So for that to come full circle and get to play with him is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was super cool. You know, when we sat around, like in our off time, he hung out with us. You know, he didn't have to, you know, but like, no, he hung out. We just talked hoops and shared some, like, you know, he shared some like legendary stories, you know, a little behind the scenes. But no, he was cool. He shows his love. Like every time I see Allen Iverson, he'll go out of his way to be like, oh, what's up, my bro, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So who has better ball handling? Hot Sauce or Allen Iverson?
Ooh. You know, this is tough because these are both some of my idols, you know? A lot of people actually think that like Hot Sauce and I are like the same era, like rivals. The truth is Hot Sauce is 10 years older than me. So like when I was in high school, I was watching Hot Sauce. I was like emulating his moves, you know what I mean? By the time I got on the mixtape tour, you know, then he's like my teammate, but to get on, we had to like kind of like go back and forth. So yeah, that's tough. That's my 2 idols right there. And to be honest, I can't even really say one or the other.
No, you don't get to. The interview does not end. That's why we made sure that these questions were extremely tough. Yeah. And we know that everyone's going to have something to say about the answer to this question.
If I had to say who's better, you have to say Allen Iverson.
Okay.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Hot Sauce deserves
so
to be.
You're on the basketball court. You have to line up your team. You have to choose between the 2.
Well, it's different levels, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I would go with Allen Iverson. But I do believe that, like, some of my teammates, like Hot Sauce and them, belong in the Hall of Fame, too, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So, and maybe they will. I don't know. But they're both my idols, so not taking anything away from Sauce.
So, for the record, you're going with Allen.
Allen Iverson, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Who from the NBA would be a great street baller?
Oh, Kyrie Irving.
Everybody thought you were going to say that. Behind the scenes, they were all going to say,
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I feel like he's such a great shooter, but ball handling wise, you think?
Oh, you got great ball handling skills too. Yeah, for sure. I think Trae Young, Jamal Crawford's not in the NBA this year, but he would be a great street ball player. There's a lot of guys, but yeah, I mean Kyrie Irving, you know.
Yeah, everyone's like Kyrie Irving.
He's a beast, one of the most skilled players of all time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Who would you like to play one-on-one in the NBA?
Whew. You know, people always say that, but like, I wouldn't. Some guys who don't make the NBA can't wait to play somebody one-on-one because they want to like prove how good they are. But like, it's not really about that for me. You know what I mean? Like, I know how I match up with the NBA level,
yeah.
You know, I worked out with NBA players, played in exhibition games.
How do you feel you match up?
Good. Okay. Here's the thing. As a competitor, if you're lacing them up and you're an elite hooper, like, you should never not think you're going to perform well. And but like, I'll go back and forth. Like, I'm not going to say I was dominating anybody, you know, but like, yeah, we're going to get moves off.
Okay.
I would say like LeBron. It'd be cool to play one. Like I'll just like see how he holds me defensively. That'd be fun.
LeBron, how tall is LeBron though?
6'9".
You would go up against LeBron. You would.
Well, not in efforts to say like I think I can win this game.
You just would like to
I'd like to feel the defense though. I think I get moves off. I think I get moves off on anybody.
You think for real?
Well, I'm not saying a win, but like shake somebody and score. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody can stop me a whole game and not get any moves off and score.
I think we need to like make a personal. We want to see this.
Hey, dude's a beast. Maybe LeBron could do it, right? I ain't never played that good of a defender, so you know.
I think if you were to like do a video of you versus LeBron, it would probably go to like one of the most viral videos.
Oh, to break the internet. Yeah. No, I'd love to play any of the greats. You know, LeBron, Steph, Kyrie. It'd just be fun just to see how that goes down. But like, I don't think I could beat any of those three, but I think I get some moves off. It'd be fun to see.
Yeah, definitely. If I had to choose a sport, it would only be basketball.
I like that though.
It would only be basketball.
Me too.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
and then, but if I had to choose a team, no loyalty to market or anything, I always will say Golden State because they have the Clay, they have Draymond, they have
Beast.
Steph, they have everybody that would be entertaining, and they're all just on one squad. I mean,
so good. Yeah, Steph especially, man, so good. Changed the game of basketball.
And when you watch them, they kind of do fall off. And I'm all about the hero's journey, hence eating while broke.
Sure.
And I feel like when you watch Golden State, they always have like, they fall off in the middle of the game and they always come back. Right?
It's a true story. And even now with the injuries, you know, being riddled with the injuries, they've kind of like fallen off. But like, they're only like one superstar away from being right back to title contenders. You know what I mean? So who knows, next couple of years to get healthy, acquire another star, might have another championship. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to bless us with a TV dinner,
Thanks for having
lunch.
Me on. Yeah, dinner. This is a dinner, you know?
Well, yeah. I'm sorry I couldn't pick out a more high-end...
No,
we had to
this is
we
the
had
one.
to keep it.
This is the one.
Keep it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
So thank you, the professor,
Thank you.
for another episode of Eating While Broke.